Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 11th of June, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar. Federal Reserve announcement yesterday that interest rates are likely to stay where they are for a good couple of years has just had a dampening effect really on the markets generally, and we're seeing the dollar just continuing to slide here. Three pretty bad weeks on that weekly chart. Remember, this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute, giving me a long-term, medium-term, and a short-term view. Looking at the Eurodollar, we see the euro actually continuing to rise. We wouldn't be surprised to see resistance at about 115. We're sitting at 113.83 at the moment. So. A bit more work to do there, but the euro has had a strong rise and is still looking bullish on the short and medium term chart. Dollar against the yen is just below 107, so dollar is actually buying less yen, so we're seeing the dollar just falling there against the yen. And if we look at sterling, holding against the dollar at about 127 at the moment, so fairly steady there, moving back into medium-term bullish territory and holding the short-term bull trend at the moment, the weaker dollar being the theme. Against the euro, we're seeing sterling falling here, so sterling is having a weaker session at the moment. Against the Aussie dollar, we're sitting at 182. And again, we've seen a steady decline here in the sterling buying less dollars, so Aussie dollar strength increasing. Looking at Bitcoin, we still can't get above this 10,000 level. We're stuck in the doldrums here. We did touch it yesterday, but we are seeing the medium-term trend looking better, and of course bullish on the long term. So at some point we do expect Bitcoin to break higher, but for the moment it's just struggling at that $10,000 mark. The S&P 500 index fell by 0.5% yesterday. The NatGas actually held its strength. We did see some new highs from Tesla and Apple. And looking at the Dow, we were down 1% yesterday. So the Fed, as I say, just dampening the sentiment. And we're seeing here the futures this morning, the S&P future down 1.4%, the Nasdaq E-mini down 1%, and we're seeing the FTSE down 2.2%, mid-caps in the UK down 2.5%, and the DAX is down 2.2% as well. The CAC 40 is down 2.3%. And so we're just seeing really the sentiment in equities is pretty light at the moment. Japan was down 2%. Hang Seng down 2%, and the Shanghai Composite not down by as much, down 0.78%. But Chinese equities still pretty much in the doldrums there, and the Sensex in India down 2%. So we are seeing markets retreating. The Aussie market down 3%, so quite a big fall there. Looking at gold quickly, we see gold holding its own at around 1732, not breaking to new highs yet, but bullish on all three time frames. No big surprise there. And of course, as sentiment dampens, gold will rise. And looking at silver, we're bullish on all three time frames here. Not recovering to new highs here so much on the long-term chart. 10-year yields on US bond yields fell quite significantly on that Fed announcement. We fell from about just under 1% right back to 0.7% over the last few days in anticipation of that announcement. So not looking so good there. And of course, bond yields fall, bonds rise, and we see the German bond having a very strong week off the back of that Fed. It just jumped. So bond prices looking set to rise. And as we said, we had new highs from Apple, really a significant move there this week, big weekly candle. Amazon, of course, making new highs, Google and Microsoft also pushing to new highs there. Just looking at the energy mix, Brent crude is down 3% this morning, just a little bit bearish below the cloud. We do have some downside targets. But $40 is just holding at the moment. WTI sitting at $38.20. And again, looking similar. That negative price spike in April having a big impact on the chart construction, of course. US NatGas steadying. As we've said, before, long term looking like it making a transition, but short term we've been bearish this week. Coal falling back to $54, but not unwound a lot of that move that we saw last week, so quite significant there. Emissions falling back to 22 euros 40, and gas prices back in the doldrums. Here we see MBP at 12, just under 12, 11.75 pence per therm in the UK, and TTF front month contract falling back to the mid 4 level. The boundaries are 390 and 590, depending on which way we break. But again, are seeing signs that we're coming off the floor here. Winter gas down 0.5%. And last of all, German power down 1.3% this morning. What was resistance looking like it's becoming support. This 38 levels is quite significant. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.